Y'all hearing this right now? I don't think you're hearing this right now. Lawrence English, Room 40, Whiteout, 2025 field recordings in Antarctica. Inject that shit into my fucking veins. Those that know me well know I'm fully Antarctica pilled. I got fucking... I got Antarctica... Hold on, let me get that in the frame. There we go, with good lights. I got Antarctica with a bird on it on my fucking bicep. Yo, my first album cover, freshman year of high school. Antarctica themed. I've been Antarctica pilled since day one. At least since day one of sonic sentience. Something about it. Very jealous. Very jealous that Lawrence is Australian and is much closer to Antarctica than I am. And could get there for field recording trips when he decides to. Yeah, it is on my merch now. You're right. You're right. Now it's immortalized beyond my flesh. I've made money off of it. Graphic long sleeve industrial complex. Put in on everybody's arms. That's right. That's right. We back for another GCFC Monday Night Raw wrestling match. We wrestling here. Any of y'all see that new picture of Vince McMahon at a court hearing? What he looks like now? Stamford, Connecticut's finest, the McMahon family on all aspects of industry, whether it be entertainment, sports entertainment, or the Federal Department of Education. Lovely people. Great looking people. Look it up. I'm not opening up. I'm not doing a full screen share here and getting into zoom in on Vince McMahon's current face. I ain't wasting your time. What do we got? Stamford, Connecticut, finger crotch of the world. Yo, an interesting suburb of New York City, Stamford, Connecticut, to say the least. Though it's a nice ride. Shout outs to the Metro North. I'll never speak ill of the Metro North. Never. Shout outs to trains in general. What do we got today? Well, before we start, before we listen to stuff, we have our October or mid-October through early mid-ish November monthly project is online on the Discord, which you can check out, and it's going to be our first bringing back our guest artist series. And so we have world-renowned abstract turntablist, composer, and DJ Maria Chavez joining us on Monday, November 10th. It'll be Monday, November 10th, as we've been doing for our public live stream once a month, presenting our monthly projects. But this will be the first time that we have ourselves a guest artist, guest faculty member. Not Maria's first time sitting in on the Group Critique Fight Club, but obviously the first of us doing this on a public live stream. Should be a lot of fun. Highly encourage y'all to get down and do it. The project for October through November is as follows. For this project, you are to take inspiration from the world of abstract turntablism through a digital context and utilize a DJ software of your choosing and create an original work of concrete performance using only found sounds as your source material rather than formal music recordings. Now, this is a loaded phrase, formal music recordings, but let's just say no original music from you that's been produced in a DAW that includes both acoustic and or synthetic virtual instruments and then played back through DJ software. No, none of that. Only found sounds, only things that you find either in the field, your own field recordings, or through however you find samples or found sounds on the internet. That is what you will be using. Other people's recordings being sent through a DJ software of your choosing. And then the final recording that you present should be a single take performance rather than utilizing overdubs. So take full advantage of the internal recording capabilities of these softwares. Most of them have it. And take full advantage of looping and internal FX capabilities of said software. Okay, so for those of y'all that aren't familiar with abstract turntablism, we don't have time to get into it now, but I highly recommend looking up the work of Maria Chavez to get yourself oriented, though this is obviously taken from the analog turntable, and in this case we're translating much of this performance practice and theory into through a digital lens, and through a very accessible lens of everybody can download Virtual DJ for free and do this project without any hardware if they wanted to, and I'm sure it would sound kick-ass. So there is no price point of entry for this, no hurdles when it comes to that. It's really like anything with DJing, going to come down to your curation. What do you send through this type of interface, and how do you finagle it? What internal capabilities, effects, and repetition, loop-based arrangement will you take advantage of, and which will you what won't you use? So these recordings should be 5 minutes or less, and uploaded to the monthly project thread on the public Discord by Monday, November 10th. So you got plenty of time to get involved, and I highly, highly, highly recommend you all do so. We'll have a bit of a Q&A with Maria, I'd say, before we start the formal critique. I'll do a little bit of chit-chat with her, a little informal interviewing. She and I go way back, so she's super, super nice to come by and hang out with us on the air. And then we will get into the critique, in which I'm sure she will have plenty to say. She's a fantastic educator. Oftentimes her performances feel like lectures because she will, do long introductions and describe the process, and afterwards encourage people to come up and check out her setup and talk to her. So she's a really wonderful person, and should be a lot of fun. I might even take part in it myself. Who knows? We'll see. So that is what is up as far as housekeeping goes. And we got some new tracks. Okay, Kareem, you want to send in something different from yesterday's critique? It came out the other side with this. Okay, so something brand new. So you'd rather have that in lieu of the what did we have? The what's the track? Works Cited. You'd rather do that? Okay. Give me a sec, and I will upload here. All right, all right, all right. Hold on. Well, I'm still going to put the works cited in there, but I'll just drag it down the queue for later and replace it with this one for now. You ain't getting a pass. Once it's in, it's permanent. But for now, I will replace it with something down the line there. And what else we got here? Gradient Fade, I have already put yours. Oh, from yesterday's Patreon crit, version 2, Zeros of Breath. Okay, the same recording, right? Zeros of Breath. Okay, great. Great. All right, getting some things in there. Wonderful. Hold on. Minimize. Okay, sweet. Gradient Fade, same recording. Perfect. Just getting it all organized for you here. Okay, sounds good. Let's open up our screen. We got ourselves adding to the accumulative playlist for October. Oh, of course we got to shout out the boys, our friends at Tape Trade, once again providing us the needed infrastructure for streaming on the air. Sign up for Tape Trade for as low as $1 and know that you will never be sharing your precious music as data with these folks. You cannot trust WeTransfer. You cannot trust Google Drive, obviously. You cannot trust Dropbox. Pay $1, get a full gigabyte. Go for more. Know that this is a beautiful interface for in-browser playlisting, both private and public. Create your press kit, upload your text, upload your artwork, and have a wonderfully lossless in-browser encoder to share your audio with. And know that you're supporting a group of like-minded folks that want to support music at its grassroots level. So shout-outs once again to our friends at Tape Trade for the support and providing us the back end for playing over the air. All right, going through our queue, I believe we're actually going to be starting with Kareem. Kareem, you presented something for us on the private group critique yesterday, which was started yesterday as a challenge to see what you could get done in an hour. And since then, you have expanded upon this, no? From what I understand. If nobody else got me, I know Tape Trade got me. It's true. It's true. They got me. All right. Kareem is up with Holding Pattern version 1. We got a full track this time. Done in 24 hours. Not that everybody should feel like they need to rush, but it's good every once in a while to give yourself some Fact Magazine style against the clock challenge. RIP Fact Bag as like an interesting and free resource. That was some serious zero interest rate policy investment in music tech and electronic music media. No longer, unfortunately. All right. Holding Pattern, a 24-hour prompt from Kareem, version 1. Let's go. Yeah. Welcome to the spa at the community college in the mall that hasn't had any architectural or interior upgrades since 1998. They're still playing the same movies there. They still got Crystal Pepsi in the food court. And that fountain in the middle is spewing the same chemical waste. Chlorine hasn't been updated, etc., etc. Exactly. Yeah, no, you're really bringing us to a zone. And, for those that were in the group critique yesterday, where we've already established some foundational imagery here. But for those that are new to Mr. Sharif's style here, he's coined the term wet music as a sort of accompanying aesthetic alignment, retroactive but now consciously applied to much of this music. And in this case, we're really hearing the steam. We're really hearing the fountain here. It's a really beautiful exercise in world building through instrumental music here, and great development. And like you said in the chat, you're taking your time here. Like repetition is good with this. Like it's totally appropriate to go 5 minutes. Hey yo, Popharus here, my king, be safe, my brother. Yeah, no, you are fully building the world here, and I agree with Breathplay asking what the written style in mind to go with this art visually, and you had wrote in terms of working vernacular or a stylistic approach for lyrics. And then Breathplay continues, I ask because Vaporwave tends to be very textually driven, and I feel like if you could define how writing looks like in this musical universe, that would make it that much more clear. I think that's it. Yeah, Kareem continues, I think that's such a good point. Haven't given enough attention, but need to think about that. Very, very good thoughts here. Very good thoughts. Because, I think a lot of the Vaporwave sort of is also built on, copywriting for advertisement as well, oftentimes in Japanese or something, but there's a corporate slogan speak that is involved in a lot of this. And whether you go fully into that or there might be a new agey surrealist sort of guided meditation sort of lens that could be written into this as well, like instructive sort of writing style I'm imagining with this as well. But from the music perspective, just what is going on here compositionally, you are setting the foundation for, I think, an actual melodic, longer tone, more expressive instrument. Because right now, we have our rhythm section, we have bass playing some long tones, and we have this bit to bit to bit, which to me feels like a counterpoint accompaniment to a melody that doesn't exist yet, and this isn't an uncommon thing. I've seen this with a lot of you guys, is creating a full foundation, including a counter melody that's implying itself to be countering something, but the main melody still isn't there yet. I feel like this is something that we could actually have gradient fade play sax over or something, some deeply elongated monophonic expressive instrument with some long dovetails to this over the rhythm section that you've already created now. Yeah, look out now. Exactly. All right, Breathplay says, I vote Bizarro synthesized vocals. That's definitely something as well. This is, again, bringing me to Boards of Canada with a lot of your work as well, and they use that all the time. Whatever music has the right to children and Gio Gotti, the beetle, that's that vocaloid synth that's playing in one of those tracks. I could absolutely hear something like that here. Synthetic vocals definitely on your mind. Okay, good. I mean, like, I think that is just like, yeah, fucking love Boards of Canada. Everybody's Autechre pilled, but I'm more team BOC, to be honest. Not that I dislike Autechre, but I think it's just like a different personality type, you know. But this is you've done a lot in 24 hours, no fucking doubt. I think that taking that last step, just from an arrangement perspective, and including, give us the lead, you know, and let it be in contrast to everything else so far, which tends to be on the, you know, the bass is obviously holding us down and giving you your root notes for chordal progression here, but it can also be, you know, providing you the foundation to harmonize above it with some melodic instrument, you know, and allow for it to play, you know, be playful with the more plucking, counterpointed counter melody that we're hearing here, you know. This is just building your arrangement up, but I mean, you've done quite a bit in a day. You know, I do not doubt you in the slightest to be able to come back to us next time, with a full V2 and really establish this from beginning to end. You know, let this be the duration. You know, you've created broad strokes, the full duration here. Now it's time to, you know, it's not icing on the cake just yet. There's still some serious work to be done developing your lead instrument, but once you're there, like, you've done the hard part's over. I bet you could do it in another day. I bet you could if you got time. Good shit. Speaking of also, you want a B section. Okay, well, then we're going past 5 minutes, you know. Missing middle hypothesis. What do you mean by that? The missing, like, the writing everything before main melody? What you mean? What you mean? I mean, if you're going for B section, yeah, missing the main melody, yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's a practice that comes with, like, building sequences where, like, everything is developed in stacks because we're working with generative instruments when making electronic music or loop-based music, things like that. Where it's all the nest, but where's the egg? That's a good way of putting it, you know? I mean, it's all this white, where's the yolk? You know, where are my egg yellows? It's the foundation. I mean, at the end of the day, like, we're making music that should include the fundamentals here of what, you know, is in arrangement. If we're making music with a rhythm section, bass, some sort of harmonic material, and then ultimately melodic material. But I think that, like, when we're playing as, like, soloists, singer-songwriters, things like that, things get a little more embedded, like writing harmony to accompany a melody that, you know, that you're singing or something like that. But when making electronic music, especially generative or programmed, loop-based or sequencer-based electronic music, I think it's really easy to lose track of, like, oh, I need a fucking lead instrument here, because I've just been spending time working in the loops, building this deck, building these stacks of things that are meant to accompany each other. But it's hard to, like, take a step back and then, like, solo over that, you know? It's like being the melody in an instrumental sense. I mean, you know this too, GF, gradient fade, as a sax player, right? It's like, ultimately you have to make the bed and then sleep in it, you know? Like, ultimately you have to then, like, do something on top of the foundation that you've cultivated there, you know? I think it comes a little more naturally for people that are, like, performing this in a live sense, especially a improvised sense. If you were to do this setup, which we've talked about in a live context, I would leave these tracks open for 15 minutes and just like slowly jam it out, Say 1,000% agree, but I think it's a big hurdle for a lot of people who are world building solo. Exactly. It's just remember to keep eyes on the prize. That's all we can do. It's just to, try to keep our check marks open. I have this, I have that, I have my harmony, I have my rhythm section. Where's the melody? Where's the beef? It's good stuff. This the discourse right here. That fucking discourse right here. We bringing it. We're bringing it to you. Oh yeah, I'm saying it. We're getting dangerous here. All right. Thank you, Kareem. Bringing up Gradient Fade. Speaking of Gradient Fade. Zeros of Breath. Version 2, I guess. Right? We got ourselves some horn, some synth, things of that nature. Let's go for play version 2. Here we go. Trying to bathe in that. I'm trying to take a bath in that. Gradient Fade. Mr. Fade. Thinking you can come in here with your beautiful horn and flute and electronics combo and play us out like that. We talked about it yesterday, but this is, really beautiful stuff. really love the signal flow that you've created for yourself here in like dueling line 6 DL4 delay, looper, and pitch shifting pedals, and then obviously your fundamental skills as a reeds and wood and winds player, as the foundation to that, which comes with a lot of great decisions and instincts as an improviser, and then bringing that in as a composer in the electronic sense and using this in various layers to create wonderful arrangements. It's a real tapestry, and I don't say that often, but it really is like a lush, wonderful foundation that you've done here, and it's just not meant to be 3 minutes long. Like this is something that would be welcome in a live set of just this zone alone, just this drone for 15 minutes. And especially being able to hear you in a live context, like switch between flute and horn or something like Rasan Roland Kirk, like have it all ready to go, and build these foundations, so we could visually see it as well. I think would be really exciting. It's somehow bringing us to the like replica era One-O-Tricks sort of sound world as well, but I think that just has to do with taste, compositional taste, first and foremost, a gentleness to it, but also like I think laying into this kind of analog sound. And we talked about this yesterday of just like we're using pedals, we're using audio, this isn't just virtual instruments in the box. There's nothing really sounds very in the box about this. We're using hardware, the original hardware, our breath, shedding inflated tears over here. I mean, this is good. I mean, this is, I think ultimately what you have going on here is out of the box music that I think through the choice of sort of analog sounding delay and pitch shifting, it has this kind of tapey saturation to it. And your choice of processing horn and flute and things like that, it still has a very synthesized, smooth, if we were to compare waveforms of some of the Juno and early FM sort of brassy or woodwindsy FM patches versus the real thing. I mean, those are some of the lushest of the early primitive digital and even analog frequency modulated synthesizers. So all this to say is that I think we could get a very FM-y synthesized, timbre easily, or at least more easily, out of things like the flute and the sax compared to other instruments that are I don't know, like harder to wave shape, let's say. All this to say is that you have a nice way of creating this sort of uncanny valley of synthesized or acoustic or physical modeling of synthesis, or playing acoustic instruments with hardware, live electronics, things like that. You do a great job tastefully of sort of playing this. This is the full instrument here, and I've said this to a lot of y'all, is that it's not just about playing the horn with electronics, but like horn plus electronics is the instrument. These are organs in a body that won't function without the other when creating this world. Same thing with Kareem's piece and the use of hardware and in creating their work. Like, it's not just about one piece of gear. It's about like signal flow of multiple limbs and organs and bones that make up a body. Like that's the thing here. And Gradient Fade has done a great job in practicing their traditional instrument as one part of this body, and the line 6 DL4 pair would be another part of the body. So what would a musical version of a body without organs be? Suno I don't know. the imposter, the fucking they live. Like that's the fucking thing. Instagram guitarists, okay. Berkeley core would be a good thing. A lot of shredding on TikTok these days without not a lot of heart. I blame people like Jacob Collier for making content out of virtuosity, electronic EBM, electronic body music. All right, that's one thing. Chill hop, yep. These are all bodies without organs. They won't function for long. We're gonna be sending them to the hospital. That alcohol is not gonna do wonders for them. Their liver's already failed. They don't have a liver. We can't process this. Our body's gonna go into sepsis. It's gonna break down. This says a lot about our society. Lovely stuff, Gradient Fade. Give us 15 minutes next time. Give us a. I would love for you to make a duo or a split EP tape, C40 tape, 20 minutes on each side, and you get one side, one take, one piece. Go for it in this zone. The Yankees lose. Oh my God. We're getting deep cuts. We're getting deep 617 cuts today. Once again. They're exploiting my weakness here. All right. We got some more music coming your way. We got a new participant. A new participant on the Discord who hold on, where is it? Who goes by the artist name Eclipse 14. I don't know if they're new or not. But we got a new track from them called Panopticon Girl. No notes given to us, no commentary. So we're going in fresh. Panopticon Girl. Let's go. yeah. I love the just teasing us twice with a little bit of modality. Everything else just purely sympathetic, single chord progression, very repetitive, big sound, super consonant sound, and then both in that little bridge around the 2.5 minute mark and our ending, we got this like little bit of modality, a little bit of change outside of that. Really, really nice. Yeah, what a come down. Exactly. Just like a little NBC, just like a little refresher at the end. It was a little peppermint on your way out the fucking restaurant, you know, just like a little breath mint at the very end. Very nice. Yeah, I mean, 2 tempos, 2 BPMs with, you know, in under 4.5 minutes, you know, taking some risks here while, you know, disguised as big room, as you know, a more typical trance. And it obviously has the typical trance tropes, T. But, you know, little hints of experimentation here. And then obviously modality, taking us out of our, you know, strictly major scaled, you know, bringing us somewhere slightly different, and then immediately back at a new tempo, for the ending. I thought it was very thoughtful. I agree. I agree, Kareem. You know, it's like doing something simple, but very effectively. You know, it was like you saw me on the camera a couple times, like, oh, clever. You know, it's like, how do we maintain 80% comfort and 20% not necessarily discomfort, but like a little bit of anticipation as to like what is going to happen here, or like, oh, I wasn't expecting that, you know. That's how I'm feeling here, you know. And I think that just having a little sprinkle of not what you expect into something that's otherwise like a hug, you know, is otherwise like very accommodating, very palatable trance music, big shiny sounds. You want it fast, you know, bring it back faster, you know? So once again, though, I will say, and trance is a great opportunity to do this, this is once again music that, this is a lot of egg white, but no yolk. Where is our lead melody for this? You know, I want something here. I know Breath Play say, now for the Caroline Polachek first. I mean, there's so many opportunities here. I'm not even thinking that. I'm thinking classic. I'm thinking Kylie Minogue. I'm thinking Madonna, you know, like diva vocals on this, synthesized or not, sampled or live, you know. Like, I think that like this is begging for drama, theatricality in the melodic sense, you know, and something that honest Gaga, sure, exactly, absolutely, pop. Let's go. Give us big here. Give us extravagant. You know, this is the music to do that. Now is the time. Now is the perfect excuse. Not something instrumental either. Like, we need lyrics. We need, okay, or breath play. Yes. Yes. Volunteer for tribute, I suppose. But I mean, like, I'm just thinking about dynamics on the bombastic side, especially when we come back faster. Give me a break. Let's go big there. You know, it's still gentle, but not, you know, it's not dramatic enough, you know, and how can we get there easily? I think through vocals that match the intensity and shine of the instrumental here. You know, I think that's what we got here. But in general, y'all, like, this is once again showing the common production workflow of building out the foundation and, you know, leaving out that one thing. I don't know if this has to do with our insecurities as soloists over our own production, and, you know, working in stacks, working in pieces and stems, and hearing everything back in loop and going a little bit at a time in instrumentals, and then thinking about everything as a companion to other elements instrumentally, but not, you know, the melody has to be separate it's not a companion. It's the queen bee, you know. It's the queen ant. It's ants. The DreamWorks animated film. You know, we need something leading the charge, and in this case with pop music, we need it out in front. Here's my hand. I want it out in front, you know, like production, shine. No room for dynamics in the quiet end, you know. Keep it matching dynamically the big bombasticness in the instrumentals, you know. Those are my thoughts. And once again, for everybody, just to be conscious during the production process, during the composition and production process of what music am I making? What do I need here? Not all music needs like a lead melody, obviously, right? But like there are in varying degrees of pop and songwriting. I think it's really important here to be mindful of where is my rhythm section right now? Where are my harmonies? Are they meant to be accompanying? Where is my lead instrument? Is that my lead melody or is that my counter melody? You know, like think about not just being in a band playing guitar, bass, and drums, but like I'm lead vocals, you are backup vocals. Like that in some ways doesn't need to just be harmonies of lead vocals, but counter melodies too. Like, you know, like these things work in counterpoints, on and off, left and right, you know? So just be mindful of the music that you're making and like arrangement wise, what is absolutely necessary here versus like, what am I okay leaving out? Because like I said, like plenty of music that does not include rhythm sections in the traditional sense, harmony in the traditional sense, or melody. But when we're making this type of music, you know, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel here compositionally. It's okay to be falling in to certain templates compositionally when it comes to songwriting and pop, you know. These are big broad strokes of what I'm saying here as far as like what makes up composition versus songwriting. But ultimately it comes down to, you know, obviously lead vocals and lyricism, right? Repetition in form and chord progression and rhythm section, you know, tends to be 4/4. Yeah, I mean, Pofara coming in with some contrarian efforts here. I think it's great on its own without any lead vocals. It's really immersive. No. I disagree. Can we add GIFs to this? Could we get a Adam Sandler I disagree Uncut Gems GIF in here? I don't know if this, no, I think you can only do that as stickers in fucking Twitch. I don't understand this live streaming technologies. Nah. Take my advice or take Pofara's advice. We're both valid in our own ways, but I'm the one hosting the live stream right now. Good stuff, but in general, remember your melodies when making music that requires it. All's I'm saying, don't forget your yolks to your eggs. Okie doke. Okie doke. Okay. We're going to get up with another track coming up. Going to play another one of Jero's tracks because they have submitted a few. And I promise we'll get to them. One per stream. So we got one for this time around. Ultralight Color Kit by Jero the Pharaoh. Let's go. Another deconstructed banger from Jero the Pharaoh. Not shying away from creative clipping. We are no strangers to that here in Fight Club. Truly enjoying, once again, these etudes, these short form pieces. And like I've said before, like there's whiffs of hip hop in this, and for those that are familiar with Jero's work from years back, being more formal beat making, taking far more risks now this time around, or at least these days, with there's a deconstruction to this. There's a utilization of, like, strictly musically speaking, like, the 4 to the floor double time, but then a halftime snare, like we could dance to this like Gabber if we wanted to, or however the Dutch pronounce it, Gubber. But I'm also grooving in halftime. I'm locked into the snare here, in which, like, the other elements drums wise are accoutrement, they are in addition, they're accompanying our implied groove here, but that's just one direction of listening that you could take hearing this, and then obviously choice of oversaturating and clipping, and sort of giving us a sensory overload in less than 2.5 minutes here. It's a choice here, right? Like, I think that, like, much of these sounds, without necessarily, the rhythm section would fall more aligned with this collage, this sort of deconstructed sort of tape music that you are making here. But to be able to lock in rhythm and bring, like, elements of beat making to this, but not in a straightforward way. I'm not hearing this just like an instrumental beat here, I would love to hear an experimental MC go over this, like Fatboy Sharif, or someone who's like, certain artists out there now are like really making a name for themselves, like spitting over just like the strangest instrumentals. Fatboy Sharif, shout outs to Death Bomb Arc Records, and some of the releases they've done together, which is like also the home of a lot of clipping side projects and things like that. Some of that stuff like works really, really well here, from like vocal delivery over these just strange deconstructed beats. I could absolutely imagine something like that happening, but it's like the challenge of how to address Polo Perks, not familiar. Send some links, shoot, Kareem is the plug here. Kareem is the plug. Okay, all right. Message retracted. I guess it was too fire. It wasn't meant for the people. Polo Perks would go crazy. Fucking too slimy. I'm a voyeur into this world. I don't know enough about these MCs that are just like breaking every rule right now, and are, giving the middle finger to eardrums and things like that. Yeah. Jero the Pharaoh, once again, with some lovelies. Jero, we need you to put out a proper release. We need this stuff. We can't just be on SoundCloud only. I say this to Potfera all the time too. Let's get something together. Let's curate a full, at least a mixtape, all in one. Let me sit down for half an hour, 45 minutes, and immerse myself in this world. The record. That's right. Some of y'all been sitting on the record for years. By God Almighty, I will get the record out of you. I will extract it in surgery. All right. Fucking A. Thank you, Jero. We got one more, and it's a AV submission from Breath Play. Audio and visual. They've written us a note, a bit of an unorthodox submission for the visual aspect of my performances rather than the music itself. I just played my first set under this Breath Play alias. I made this video backdrop using Max for Live, specifically a pack of video synth modules called Vizzy. It was enough for a half-hour set at a DIY show, but pretty sparse. What other dimensions and elements could I add if I was, in theory, bringing this to a multi-hour set? Or is it interesting enough by itself, especially since I'm spinning a lot of minimal and ambient? Yes, this is good because this is technically a DJ set, but of a lot of original music, some of which straightforward dance music, some of which complete digital abstract turntablism, complete performable tape music. All right, so we're going to do it for 5 minutes at the 15-minute mark or so as requested. Let's get into it here. Breath Play, a little snippet, live AV set. Oh, wait. Is there no sound for this? Is it just visuals? Is it just visuals on this? Where's my music? Oh, we have to imagine it. Breath Play, you got something to accompany this? It's just the visuals. Oh my God. This is a podcast. I have to describe this to the listener. Send something you would spin. Oh, okay, cool. Sorry. Let's go and hopefully I don't get DMCA'd for playing some other music to accompany this. Let's do just a snippet of this. Hold up.
Take the next step in treating your moderate to severe ulcerative colitis with Entyvio, the only gut-focused treatment.
Entyvio. Amazing. I know you can do it, baby. Are there varying degrees of messaging throughout this beyond the I know you could do it, baby? Are there other messages embedded? I know you could do it, baby. I know you could do it, baby. Does it change? No, it stays there. We go from Breath Play to I know you could do it, baby, halfway through. I would love more. More messages, create more markers for yourself. I do enjoy the strict minimalism and just smoke, having a stripped down visuals for this. No issues there. I think maybe color scheme, going from a grayscale to some sort of colors, you know, bringing in other messaging involved with some hues, you know, going into a dark red would be really nice, you know, something like that. Just like, yeah, a random cycle of messages. Yeah, exactly. You know, it's also humorous. I think that's part of it too, which I really enjoy. You're a humorous person. Like some levity to this, but also like there is like classic DJ as crowd controller, you know, like it's not subliminal messaging here, you know, something direct, deliberate here, that could also act as some sort of marker for yourself, timestamps as to like I should be here versus there in my set list, depending on, you know, where you are in the video with what message is on screen. It can just kind of keep you grounded as far as how long the set is, especially, you know, trying to, with a longer set going for over an hour, you know, proper DJ set, thinking about what can be, you know, how do you pace yourself with that when making a lot of deconstructed and down tempo and either sort of arrhythmic or non-drum oriented dance, or sorry, non-drum oriented ambient or collage based sound. You know, this is a good way to create structure for yourself. You know, I had done pieces in college, actually, in the electroacoustic ensemble, where we would have a video monitor on screen in lieu of a conductor when making like structured improvisatory or durational based works using like graphic scores and things like that. As we would have, there would be a visual for the audience, but then there would be a monitor screen with a separate visual with more like cues, countdown cues, or like 1 minute until change here, things like that. Yeah, so you practice to this visual cue. I would say like lay into that further, both with messaging and color scheme changes, for the sake of a longer set, you know, like to not just pace yourself by feeling it out, but to like literally follow these cues, as a way to know like when you should be where, you know. I think just thinking pragmatically about it is the smart thing with that. Playing an AV set is difficult by yourself, you know, especially when there's certain improvised elements to it and not just playing something through all the way. I mean, I know plenty of people who will just play a 45-minute playback of audio and then just focus on visuals as the thing that they perform, you know, but they're doing it. They did everything. No shame in that game either, you know, but this is a DJ act. So finding ways to like curate your set, but also like through following the conductor, following the cues, pace yourself over the course of a longer set, you know. Now you got to get the longer set. Show number 2 is going to be on your fucking radar now. Got to start working on that. And that goes for everybody. Book shows, get out there. DIY shows are fucking awesome. Play a house venue, play a fucking basement. And if you're not playing one, go to one. Music is social, so be social. It's my mantra. Tat that on my chest. Go to the show, play the show, be the show when you can go to it. When they're there. All right, y'all. We've had it. You got yourselves a monthly project for this month into next. We will not be meeting next week. I'm going to be away. Okay? So next Sunday and next Monday we are off. We will be back in 2 weeks. Normal time. Plenty of time to work on some new stuff and get some more submissions in. Okay. Lovely stuff from everyone. I will see you in 2 weeks. Work on the monthly project. Be well. Hang out with each other. Love each other. And yes, shout outs to our boy Pafura. Please be safe. End the fucking war. We love you. We'll see you soon. See y'all very soon. Take care.